Do. Hope you're doing fine, 'cause it's Q&A time again. Oh, wasn't that just beautiful song? So beautiful. But hello, everybody. Welcome to another Friday Night Live Q&A, where you can hang out with the community and figure out what's going on with your aquariums, with your fish, shrimp, and or plants. Man, there we go. Get you settled in here. But yeah, always a good time to be with you guys. And see you guys all in the chat. Hello. Lovely to see you all. And as always, if you do got questions, always helps to put the question mark behind it. And if you do not get to see it live, you could always ask in the comments as well afterwards. And I will try my best to get to it when I can. But yes, welcome all. So real quick this week, I'm still waiting on the process of the house. So the guy who's buying this house has had an offer on his house, which I think it's been less than a week since he's had it on the MLS. So we're still trying to figure out timing, which is like the hardest part of everything. We might have to try to find a bridge loan or something. It would be a big pain in the butt. But things are moving forward, and it is super exciting. Super exciting. And the snow's melting away. That's also exciting. Even though a lot of it has turned to ice. I am ready for that warm weather. Jonathan Green. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that $5 super chat. I really appreciate it. And it definitely helps. Says, just got the yellow shrimp you sent. They look great. Glad to hear it. And thank you so much for your support and for your order. And to everybody else who also ordered, we were backed up to 3 weeks worth of shipping. So we had over 100 some orders. Got all those out. That was great to do. So happy to be able to finally get everybody's orders out. I hate having to wait for weather, but sometimes you just got to do it. But the weather's been nice. The weather next week's going to be nice. I think we're kind of out of that winter hump of shipping, which is always great. Thank you again for the super chat and for the order. The support is much appreciated. And hello. Are you guys in here? Patrick Hardy says, did you check your email? I want to buy 2 more pairs of your volcanic guppies. So quite a bit of people are wanting the volcano guppies right now, and I'm not really letting go of them because I don't quite have the numbers to where I'm ready to be able to do that. So, I mean, I'm trying to grow some out, but, you know, they only breed so fast as well. And I do have multiple tanks of them. And I do try to break or back up the lines, but it just still takes time. And thank you, Alien World, for the congrats. And Tracy Brunson says, where's little Samson Wesley? He is upstairs hanging out with his mom right now. And Patrick Hardy, thank you so much for your support and your super chat, Patrick. With the fist bump back at you, bro, and always great to see you in here, my brother. Eco Alex says, I got some shrimp from a breeder who started a colony with your shrimp. Should I start calling before I have a second generation? I see about 6 out of 20 that don't have that much color. So what I would do is call out the ones that don't have color. That's just how I do it. I keep the ones that have color and call out the ones that don't have color. And the males can kind of trick you sometimes though, because the males won't always have, the males will never get the same color as the females, where they'll get that solid red. Like once in a while you may get some males that are like solid, but it's very rare for males to be real solid. So keep that in mind. If you start picking everything out that is like solid, almost looks like a female, you can end up just with a bunch of females. I actually did that towards the beginning one time. And oh, another super chat. Patrick Hardy, my goodness, my brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Throwing a huge $20 super chat, says you are amazing. Well, you are amazing as well, my brother. Thank you. I could never thank you enough, Patrick. Big, big, big shout out to you. Let's see. Do you ever happen to sell newts? Ask Alien World Aquatics. So I do not sell newts. Houston Frogs is like that guy Chase who runs that. He has like all the newts. As far as when it comes to the newt world, that would be who I would hit up. Houston Frogs. And Michigan Tropicals, thank you so much for the $5 super chat and the huge support. Says hello, Mr. Placo. Where the funk you at? Right on, brother. Yeah, thanks for the super chat and saw your videos on your store. Looks like you're getting things rolling. Saw your little mascot there. That fire eel was really cool. But thank you so much for that $5 super chat. And Patrick Hardy, my goodness, my brother, $20 again. Wow. Wow. Thank you. Says go for sure. Brother, how could I ever thank you enough, my man? But thank you again. Patrick, you're killing me. For real, wow. Another $5 super chat with the mic drop. Patrick, my goodness, my brother. Thank you. Thank you. YouTube is definitely going to like my channel and from you for all your support. Brother, thank you. All right, Tracy Brunson says, do you wait a few weeks for your water to mature and cycle before adding fish to fresh setup? So, I mean, you're supposed to. And, I mean, if you're on a new tank, that's probably the best way to do it. Maybe get a snail if you can. But I personally, I do not like to wait. And I have a power head. It's over here on the side. But it's got like these foam attachments to it. So it holds up mulm and stuff. So I'll take that mulm, and I'll squeeze it into the tank, and then I'll pretty much get an instant cycle from that. And that way I don't have to go through the whole 2-week, 3-week process of hoping and wishing that it was ready. And by squeezing that in there, I know it's ready by adding that beneficial bacteria and that mulm in there. And Patrick, my man, dude, I'm speechless. Says, thanks for being you. Well, thank you for being you, brother. Like, seriously. I know I said it once, so I'll say it again. I can never thank you enough. That is huge, dude. Thank you. Oh, man. How awesome. Big shout out to Patrick. Everybody... A big old shout out to Patrick. Thank you. Toe Tang Lore says, hello, I'm thinking about setting up my 55-gallon. Any ideas of what types plants best for a 55-gallon? So since the 55-gallon is kind of a long tank, I always liked sweeping type of plants in those kind of tanks. Which you could do with jungle val, you could do it with Pontageton cryptocorns. Balanced crypts are really good to get that sweeping look. There's so many things you could do with it. You can add, like, when it comes to aquascaping, just try to design it around the fish that you plan on putting in there as well. So that's probably one of the biggest places. So you can start at like, oh, what you want to do with visuals, but at the same time, do you want it just for visuals or do you want it for more of the fish and how they would like their environment to be? So if you look at it that direction, then you can kind of look towards their natural living, and then you can kind of build their house, since they're going to be the ones living in it, towards what you may want to design your tank to. And anytime you can add plants from their natural environment can actually help encourage breeding too, because it's like instinct for them. So definitely look at the biotope of the fish that you plan on putting in there. And then that will help steer you in the right direction. But holy moly, you guys, holy moly. All you guys. And Patrick Hardy with a huge $50 super chat. My brother, thank you. Man, drumming up the city. Big time, my brother. Huge support, dude. Could never thank you again. And MadCat61207 with your black cat and your support. Thank you. Always great to see you in here, MadCat. And I really appreciate your super chat as well. So thank you. And also Thomas G, my boy. Glad to see you in here, brother. And thank you so much for the $5.55 super chat too. You guys are absolutely amazing. And thank you. Oh, you guys are not going to let me get to these questions, are you? I'm sorry, I'm trying to get to your guys' questions, but these super chats, I mean, how could I ignore them? Because, I mean, thank you. Michigan Tropicals for the huge $50 super chat. Thank you. It says, from Taylor, the kids, myself, and the store mascots, my brother, your family, bless you all. And thank you. You guys, absolutely awesome. And Patrick Hardy again with the $5 super chat. I'm almost starting to wonder if you're being hacked right now. But he says, keep it up. And thank you again for the super chat. Another super chat from Patrick Hardy. You guys are absolutely amazing. Wow. All right, Mark Aquatics says, what happened to the moss that was hanging behind you? Oh, that moss? Actually, I put it into my guest bedroom just to see if it would like soak up humidity at all, any kind of moisture. Because it's like the only spot that I don't have a dehumidifier. Like, it doesn't get bad back there, but I just wanted to kind of do a little experimenting with it. And it's still doing all right. It's Spanish moss, I believe is what that is called. ADHD Aquatics says, when treating sick fish with salt, what dosage do you recommend? I typically do ½ cup per gallon of ice, so I don't do the salt thing. If I were to do the salt, I would have to like isolate that fish into a tank to where I'm just doing that salt into that tank. Just because I don't know how all that salt breaks down as far as with the plants. I haven't really tested it that much and have never really needed it. So it all really depends on what you're treating. Now, if you do like maybe put your fish into its own container and kind of let it deal with the salt, and that way you're not really messing up any kind of bacteria and microbiologies that may be in your environment that you have already established. It doesn't cause any swings. But I mean, I don't have a whole lot of personal use with it. I did save a swordtail not long ago by putting them in one of those fry rack containers. But see, fry rack containers can really handle that salt water, so I didn't have to worry about how much I put in there. I just put a little bit. And it actually helped it with its skin condition, helped it with its immunity. And Taylor, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Says, you and Sarah are amazing. Thank you, or thanks for all you do. Hope to see you guys soon. Hope to see you guys soon as well too. Is this the Taylor of Michigan Tropicals? I'm thinking. But yes, thank you. And I have been thinking about your river system tank, and I would still like to do that for you guys, but I'm gonna have to like figure out the timing and how far the trip is, and we'll have to work all that out. But thank you so much for the support. Tony Romani says, LRB, did you ever check the TDS at the new house, and do you plan on filtering well water? So I did check the TDS, and I won't lie, it's a little cautionary as far as I don't really know how it's going to act with what I'm going to be taking down there, because it had 1100 TDS, so it was super hard water, but I think it's still soft water. because it still has some acidity. So I don't know, it should be interesting. I was thinking about making rain catchment systems and maybe doing kind of like a hydroponic system. That way I can filter the water through garden beds and be able to just have natural system that way, that I wouldn't really even have to do water changes. It would all kind of sustain into its own system. Richard Reynolds says, be careful, Spanish moss can carry mites. It's true, it can carry mites. Luckily, I had kept mine outside for quite some time before I brought it in. And it was out in the van, so if there was any mites, they would have died. And I did like inspect it real good before I got it. Alright, Anna Walker says, LRB, I need your advice on making this decision in my tank. I'm curious if you have ever had coal shrimp turn out with such good color that you moved it back into your good colony. So that has happened. Sometimes you'll see, like, it won't look like much of a shrimp as far as color goes, and you'll throw it into your coal tank and then it'll grow up and it will almost be like one of your best looking ones. So it can be real tricky with shrimp when it comes to that. I don't know if I would move it back into my colony, just because there's a chance that its genetics could have come from somewhere else, or shrimp got mixed up, or maybe it was a female and it gets pregnant, then it can dirty up your whole good line. So you really don't want to end up doing that, because that could be bad. But it is the Michigan Tropicals Taylor, so great to see you. Saw the confirmation here in the chat. Alright, scrolling, and if you got those questions, remember to throw that question mark. Mike Vane says, sup Lucas, I have success growing most plants, but for some reason I'm struggling to get my Java mouse to grow. Can too much light cause it to burn? Any tips? Thanks, appreciate the knowledge. Yes, I mean, you're right on track. Too much light often will feed the algae faster, and it'll feed the moss, and sometimes it just really does not like that strong light. I actually have some Java moss up here, but I keep it on the inside, bottom side, into that lower light. And when you put it in the lower light, kind of like where I have it half lit, and let me flip you around, where it's kind of like half dark, half light. It was full here. I've been picking on this like crazy because orders and whatnot. But it was all growing up here, and then it'll start stretching this way. So you want it in that real low light. If it was over here in the center of this light, where you get most of your light penetration, then it would start growing more of this algae on there. It would be harder to be able to keep going. Matter of fact, I did put some of that over here, and it didn't grow very well. It actually ended up turning into algae. But I'm going to try to combat that naturally by putting some corkscrew valve, floating it like I did over here. I'm going to see how well that absorbs light here. Which is why you see some of that red in that Vallisneria is from that high light. Like, I don't know. It's weird how Vallisneria will turn red in like certain lighting conditions. I haven't quite pinpointed exactly what triggers it, but it's really weird how and when it turns red. But I hope that helps you. And Patrick Hardy, was that another super chat, or is that the same one? I don't know, but either way, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, Patrick Hardy, another $10 super chat. My brother. Thank you. Much, much, much love and appreciate that. Johnny John says, cut that beard, bro. Who are you, Johnny John? Maybe you need to grow a beard. Can't cut my beard. You know, I've actually never trimmed or cut my beard or hair in like the last, I don't freaking know, since I've been doing this YouTube. Not a once. And it kind of stays like this. Honestly, I'm lucky to even have a beard. Usually I got a baby face. Kobe Lacunza, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, Kobe. Says, hey Lucas, I just got my 10 fire reds from you. I have a 29 with clown killies. I was wondering if I could community breed with Neo's TDS 630 temp 73. So the clown killies stay pretty small, and thank you so much for the super chat. If you're gonna keep them with Neos, you're definitely gonna need the rock pile. I don't know if you've heard me talk about the rock pile method, but you get a bunch of rocks. You can get multiple different sizes. If you get big rocks, then medium rocks, and then smaller rocks, you can graduate it so it makes it look more natural. Or you can just get like a bag of rocks, like river rocks like that. Put them all together, make a mound. That way it's got cracks and crevices that your shrimp can go into, that the killifish can't go into. And that way they can create nurseries under there. It takes longer to get colonies to go in that kind of situation. And if you add those shrimp in there, I would add them when the killies are sleeping. I don't know how big your clown killies are. But you can keep them together, but it can be trickier and it takes more time for the shrimp to get more comfortable to where you'll actually see babies coming out. So I hope that helps. And with the TDS of 630, after seeing what I've seen in Florida with its real hard TDS as far as like the high numbers of it, it's really hard to tell on if it's still acidic or not. And I don't think pH is really a good way to measure that either. Honestly, I don't know what a good way to measure that would be. Because GHKH, I don't think that would really do it. To really find the acidity beyond, because pH, it can also be per hydrogen. And when you start getting those gases involved, that's why an airline will throw that pH right off into the roof. And same thing when you do a water change. So you do a water change and it comes out at a high pH. You're like, why is my pH so high? But then I test it later and it's low. It's because it outgasses that atmospheric air that has hydrogen molecules in it, which can throw you off. So clown killies, I think, tend to like softer water. I could be wrong on that. I've never actually tried it myself as far as keeping clown killies in that harder water. But if there's a softness to that hardness, acidity to break that mineralization, that 630 down, then I don't think it would be a problem. Which, when I move to Florida, I should be able to learn much more on a hands-on basis about how that kind of water really works, and if there is really a good way where you can find that acidity. Maybe somebody in the chat, I'll keep my eyes for it, but maybe somebody in the chat has had similar experience and may know. But thank you, Kobe Lacunza, for the $5 super chat, and I hope that helps you. All right, that was kind of a deeper question and subject there, but I thought it needed to be covered to properly do that. I will try to get back to these. Crypt Keeper Aquatics says, LRB, for 100 gallons worth of shrimp tank, what would you recommend for a RO system? I mean, if you could do a rain catchment, that could almost be enough. And then just get a pump for it, but that's all up to you. If you want to get an RO system, only 100 gallons. Is that for, like, you got to think about, really actually what you want to do is think about how long do you want to spend doing that water change or getting that 100 gallons, because that's what it's really about, is how fast you can do it. The reason why I've got a 3,000 gallon an hour RO system is due to speed, so to save time. But if you don't care, then you can get 100 gallon per hour where it takes an hour to get your 100 gallons. Or you get a 500 gallon per hour where it only takes 12 minutes to get your RO water. So that's all kind of up to you. And plus your budget. Scroll. Alright, I am going to try to work my way down to the bottom here. Dana Ken Aquatics says, what up, bro? How many days till Florida? Hope you and the family are well, man. So I'm not 100% sure how many days till Florida because we're supposed to be at the 17th down there in closing. And trying to get that extended a little bit, but also trying to wait on the other guy to sell. And I don't know if we're going to have to try to get a bridge loan, do some other stuff, or... we're still kind of weighing our options and trying to figure things out right now. But hopefully sooner than later, like the things are in motion. So that's exciting. Luca Brazzi says, are Bulbitis fern and the crenum plants from Africa in jeopardy of being banned? I hope not. Now, I know that's a huge thing to talk about, the Lacey Act and everything, which I haven't really talked about yet. But I don't think they named plants. I think it was all more living. Well, I mean, plants are living, but they mostly mentioned like lizards and reptiles, birds and fish and whatnot. But I mean, I hope not. God, I hope not. Michigan Tropical says, oh, asking ADHD. So, all right. Ball Python 9 says, how would you recommend packaging shipping Amazon frog beds? So that's the tough part about your normal floating plants, like frog bed, water lettuce, and what's the other one? I can't really think of. Duckweed, probably because I never keep it. But if it gets dunked and it keeps too moist on the top of it, it could actually be real detrimental to it. I would say your best bet is to pull it up out of the tank with your fingers, let the water drain as much as possible, just enough to keep the roots damp, and then put it in a bag of air. No water. You do not want to ship it with water. People that ship their plants in water, it's still kind of new to them. Same with the ones that wrap it. Oh my Lord. Those people that wrap plants, it's not good. Thomas George, since we are talking TDS, are the cheap TDS meters good, or should I throw the money at the expensive one? Cheap meters are just as good, dude. I had the $10, $15 TDS meters around here everywhere, and they have lasted me a long time. Crypt Keeper Aquatics says you can degas the water by shaking it for 3 minutes in the test vial before taking pH, and it becomes more accurate. Yeah, you could, but then, well, I mean, I guess if you wanted to see what it was like when it settled. But yeah, it's still got to settle in the tank. 5 a.m. Master Black, you're on my kind of schedule. Glad you could check in, my brother. Alright, I think this thing is jumping around on me. And I think I am close to the bottom. Alright, yeah, that's just good. How many Kanga Tetras in a 33-gallon long? Oh, I love those 33-gallon longs. Let's see. I don't know, honestly. If you want to go ahead and just go with the school, I would probably do like 12 of them in that size of tank. I'd just be trying to breed. I'd put a trio and try to breed them out myself. It's always funner when you can breed them out. I have had some Congo Tetra babies too. They're not too hard to breed. Tap TDS is 18 to 20, blessed with Portland tap water. Yeah, you guys get like RO out the gate. But you have to mineralize. If you guys aren't fertilizing and mineralizing over there on the West Coast, it's hard to keep plants for y'all. And certain fish. But at least your water could break down any mineralization that plants and fish can uptake easily. See, that's really the trick, is how well that water will let the fish and plants uptake those mineralizations that break down in that acidity. That's why Florida and with this water is going to really teach me a lot about how they really do it down there. Because I know it's got to, like, it can't be that big of an issue because so many people do it down there. But I don't know. I'm going to probably have to go talk to some people at, like, stores too and kind of pick their brains on things before I start trying to risk my mascara barbs there. So it will be tricky. Maria M, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Maria says suggestions for a 10-gallon open top tank. Oh my gosh, sky's the limit with a 10-gallon open top tank. Besides like a sword plant, don't put any sword plants in a 10-gallon. They'll just absolutely take over. Bushas, mosses, little stem plants are always good. Really, as far as fish, like once again, it goes to what fish you want to put in there. And the only way to really figure that out is by looking at different fish, seeing something that you may like, and then since you're looking for suggestions already, sounds like you do your homework and you'd be able to create that tank to what the fish would need. Now, if you guys just want like something like a tank to look at, easy display, you really don't care about what fish, I would say guppies, especially if you want it to be easy maintenance, because guppies will pretty much take care of the tank. They got an amazing symbiotic relationship with plants where they kind of constantly mouth the plants, especially for a 10-gallon since it's not a whole lot of space. But they'll constantly clean up plants and get things moved around, and just really easy to keep in a tank. And you get to see them breed out, which is always fun. But thank you, Maria. I hope that helps. It's really hard to do suggestions because everybody's taste is different when it comes to aquariums. But I can help plant seeds to lead you to where your brain can take you. Patrick Hardy, thank you, my brother, for the $5 super chat again. Huge support. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. And sorry if I'm missing anybody's questions here. Try my best. Son of Aquatics says, recently lost a sick Cory with ick for a day or two until it went away and died in quarantine tank. I used the one siphon and I had in it. Should I sterilize it in-house? So, oof. Honestly, I personally would throw it away. I just would not even risk it. I would not risk trying to sterilize it. Because those cysts and the eggs, they can really stick to stuff. And that could end up sending you down a wild cycle that you don't want to be in. And as far as the QT tank, those you can rinse out pretty well, or at least just turn the heat up. So you can kill ick naturally with just heat because it can't live, I think, up above 86 degrees. So if you keep it up there for 30 days, then, I guess then you could sterilize your hose. It does kind of mess with the dexterity of your hose when you have it put in hot water for a certain amount of time. But you're going to also have to keep that water hot enough for 30 days to sterilize that hose. So do you want to do that? That's all kind of up to you. Maybe put it in the tank if you could roll it up or something and get the water in it. Well, sorry to hear about your Cory, and yeah, if you want to try to hit ick naturally, raise that temperature up in the tank that it was into. Maybe do that as a precautionary method. Killing Me Softly, Nia's with Tiger Batis, 20 long, heavy spiderwood, and hornwort rock pile. Yeah, definitely still need that rock pile, because those Batis will just hunt for little babies. As long as you got somewhere where the adults and the females feel comfortable to have their little babies, they'll breed out for you. That's the trick. Let's see. all for them questions. Have you closed on Florida House, Lucas? Not quite yet, Chris. But always great to see you in here, Chris Trout. Not quite yet. It's all in motion. Harper ZCH190 says, I want to do a Neolamprologus multifasciatus 29 gallon, but I am unsure if they will outgrow the tank. Your thoughts? Thank you. So when it comes to those Shelleys, definitely best to give them surface area. They could care less about the height of the tank. They really care about the surface area and the land value. So, I mean, they'll do all right in a 29. I keep mine in a 20 gallon. And they all do pretty good. Here, I'll flip you over. Matter of fact, I mean, I don't even have filters on these things. There's really hard to see. Really hard to see, but you can see in here. So they like land. They like to disturb stuff. They like to spit things around. Same up here. But yeah, give them some land, give them some shells or rocks or something where they can kind of bury themselves into. But I mean, that's not too much off of a 29. 29 is probably just a little taller, a little further out. So you can still keep them in there, no problem. They'll breed out. And they do, the thing with the Shelleys too is don't lose heart on them because they can just take some time to finally grow out and breed. It takes them a long time to feel comfortable in a space. Alright, Other B, that is the greatest spout I've ever seen. Which one? Solemn Narambo says, do guppies ever give birth to only part of their total fry? Mine kicked out 13, but still looks like she may be preggers, and it's been 5 days, no illness or bloat, and acted normal. I don't know. That's a really good question. Like, I think the scientists would say no. I'm not really sure, but I'm sure, I don't know. Mother Nature is crazy, so I'm not going to say no because I've seen some weird things. It may be possible. Or maybe her next batch is just already cooking, ready to go. I don't know. That's a good question. Brookley Bell says, I've had the 1,477 TDS tank running for about 4 months. Had to rescape it after running for 5 years. I only have 5 small black Surustans in it, and I put 2 weeks ago. Well, that's interesting. I wonder what you were keeping in there and why you rescaped it after 5 years. But it sounds like it was running pretty decently for a long time. And I wonder, because the reason why I believe that 1100 TDS at Florida is soft is the fact that they didn't have mineral buildup on things. So usually when you have hard water, you'll get that mineral buildup, like it'll just create stalactites on your faucets and stalagmites on your sinks. And their high TDS water didn't do that. So it's really intriguing how that really all works. And knowing your water really does play a huge role when it comes to keeping fish. We keep the water more than we keep the fish, really. Tyson Borden says, I'm thinking about setting up a bare bottom tank for a gulper catfish. This would be my first time with a bare bottom tank. Any tips? With a gulper catfish, you're going to have big waste coming from that thing. So a bottom tank, bare bottom tank, I would at least put like some foam material. Maybe say not just glass, maybe get some foam material to put on the bottom of it or like half of it, that matin filter stuff. Just because you're going to struggle with water changes. I don't know if you're doing like a sponge filter or something or a canister filter. If you're doing a regular filter, it won't matter. You should be all right. As long as you got something to hold that beneficial bacteria in there that will help filter and clean out the waste of that fish, because the ammonia, even though we don't think about it, fish pee a lot, and then that's what creates a lot of the ammonia that can either feed the plants and or get filtered out by beneficial bacteria. Same with the nitrates from the poop and waste and all that. So as long as you got some kind of beneficial bacteria hold to combat that, you'll be fine. Same thing with the breaking down of its food. Crypt Keeper Aquatics says, any suggestions for a bushy, short Java fern variety? Foreground will be Crypt Parva, Nuri, Pink Panther, and Pahang. Want something bushy against shrimp cave entrance. So when it comes to crypts, I would always recommend on separating types. Now with the Crypt Parva and like a Nuri, like, yeah, go with that, but when you start adding like a Nuri and the Pink Panther, and I'm not quite sure what the Pahang looks like, but they can actually hybridize and mix in together. So maybe not always a bad thing, but they can also battle for space, and or it can get confusing on which is which. Sometimes they can also take time to get going, so you will have some time for that to prepare yourself. But if you're looking for a suggestion for a bushy short Java fern, I would say the Philippine fern is what I would pick. Also, if you have shrimps, they will eat the fallen egg. Oh, really? Interesting, never heard of that. Thomas George says, looking for a riparian style plant that will thrive in a dirted substrate and grow out of about 4 inches of water and stay around a foot tall. Wow, a foot tall? Ooh, I don't know. I haven't really got that deep into riparian plants to help you, Thomas. But if anybody's into riparian plants, please help out Thomas George for some suggestions. Like with my pond that I was gonna play with this summer, I was gonna learn more on that, but I'll still have ponds to play with. And I'm still gonna play with this pond here. I still gotta help finish it before, or once the weather gets going. My village, my video says, how many goldfish can I keep in a 1.5 foot tank? Please reply, please reply. Well, I mean, I don't know how wide it is, or the depth of the tank, so that's really hard to figure out. And also how you're keeping the tank. So once again, it goes to how much of their waste are you able to clean up, and also you'll need some oxygen if you're going to try to stockpile fish more. So there's quite a few variables to that. Kobe Lacunza says, does Brazilian pennywort like high TDS? It does. And that actually brings up a good subject. A lot of plants love that high mineralization in TDS if they can soak it up. Some can't soak it up. Some do not have the plant tissue structure to be able to soak it up. And that's why some really do need soft water to survive underneath water. MadCat61207 says, if you did use Easy Green, how many squirts per week would you use? I guess that would depend on the plants in the tank, and the size of the tank, and the light on the tank. So if you have a whole lot of highlight and like faster growing plants like pearlweed and stem plants and some mosses, depends on the biomass of your mosses, but they're going to eat more than, say, if you've got Anubiases and Java fern in there with a lower light, they're going to eat less. So the whole trick with that is to think about what may be needed for the absorption. And the best way to do that is, but it's pretty much the EI method. It's the estimated index method, which it's all pretty much a guessing game until you figure it out. So start off with what it would say to do, And then if you're seeing like too much algae, like the growth is good, but you're seeing algae, it seems like there's too much nutrients, then maybe cut back on it. Now, if it looks like you're not getting enough for the plants, you're not getting enough growth, and you're getting more dieback, then start ferting more of your whatever you're ferting. Doesn't matter if it's easy green or whatever it is. Even what's Dustin's plant juice? I could totally do that stuff, but you know what? Like I honestly I like the dry ferts better than the liquid ferts. And I mean, I still only dose the liquid ferts because it's easier. But what I need to do is get like salt shakers for my dry ferts to where I can just salt shake my dry ferts in. Because they'll fall down to the ground. They'll dissolve as they're falling down, get into the water column a little more, but they'll actually get more towards the roots and to the plants and better over time. But yeah, I want to add all those bottles that have to come for just the dilution of a solution and create all that plastic for it. It's crazy. MadCat61207, what's the best way to measure 0.001 grams of Pancure C? So that would be for like a 1 gallon if you're going to 0.001. If that's just 1 gallon, it all depends on your test. So if you look at scales whenever you go to buy them, they'll usually tell you to what measurement degree they go to. And you'd have to get a scale accordingly. Or you can measure out 0.1 or 0.01, and then you can try your best to divide it up into tenths. And I mean, as long as you'd be close to it, you'd be all right. It'd be hard to overdose that too much. MadCat61207, can Pancure C get stuck in your substrate? If it does get stuck in your substrate, I think it still dissolves and stuff. You don't have to worry about it being stuck in there, because it will dissolve over time. But if you are dosing with Pancure C, it is good to get that powder, then add just a couple drops, and then like create a paste out of it. And then kind of rub that paste as you add a little water to it. That way it melts and blends into the water. And then you can pour it in, and then it distributes around the tank a lot better. What's your thoughts on 8 pH and 8 TDS? See, so you can either have a lot of sunlight on your tank and also raise pH. Your pH could just be being raised from your air stone, which is also reading that per hydrogen. But you've definitely got soft water for sure, regardless of anything else. If you're at 84 TDS, that means you've got soft acidic water. And like, yeah, as far as like guppies, neos, they could be hard for you to keep because you don't have enough mineralization in there. Because you don't really get any mineralization from the pH factor. The mineralization is into the GH, KH, which is also like a combination of that is your TDS, amongst a few other things. Hope that all makes sense. My penis, I don't know why, but that's a funny name. It says, recently saw jade green Neocaridina shrimp on Flip Aquatics from a chocolate shrimp line, but also found some info saying they can come from a cherry yellow. Are there 2 lines? So you can actually, what is it? I think it's a blue and a yellow can create greens. And I think if you were to chase that, I would go towards those kind of lines. I don't know it came from a cherry yellow. Cherry yellows usually goes to like a wild, more of a brown kind of wild. And not really brown, but like a black. striped, clear, really looking, not really, but striped. And then the chocolate line, those those usually come from being mixed with all kinds of sorts of different coals and shrimp, and then you'll just get these random greens out of them. Like their genetics on those kind of shrimp are just those gene pools on the genetics, and the recessions go super deep. I remember when Blue Dreams first came out, and that was the same kind of situation, is where you'd have the Blue Dreams, and then they would throw like so many crazy different mutations and genes. And honestly, if you like playing with shrimp, those are the best kind of shrimp to play with, because you can get more genetic gene pools and strains and colors that you may not even think be possible. And it's weird how shrimp actually store their genes. As far as like how much difference they can store and how much of it will come out. Which the variables in the complete science for, I don't know exactly, but I have seen and experienced a lot of this in the decade some of keeping shrimp. Tracy Brunson says, question, I have black mollies twirling circles in a community setting with platies, zebras, swords, guppies, and the mollies end up swimming upside down on their head and die. Why? So is it just the mollies doing it? And it's multiple mollies doing it? Could have something to do with the water. Platies and zebras, swords, guppies. I mean, I'm guessing you got harder water with those types of fish. And those all kind of live around the same. So it's hard to think of a certain water parameter that would be a problem for them. Could be something genetically. Maybe they were like super inbred and they have nerve issues and like brain issues. That's the only thing I can think of. Because if it's not affecting any of your other fish, or it could be an internal parasite that could be traveling between each one, and it just gets to one at a time or something. So I don't know if you have multiples getting hit, or if it's just that one at a time kind of deal. And usually you could tell that from like the fish's waist and their guts and how the body's shaped, if there's any deformities. So I hope that helps. I mean, once you can diagnose and figure out exactly what that is, if it is internal parasite or maybe genetic, then I would think about the way to go about treatment. Because even internal parasite, it could be a multitude of different types of worms. And with that, I mean, there's a lot of medicated food, but honestly, I would take that fish and quarantine it into its own space and just get it out of the community. Dan Medina says, I accidentally spawned Tinjo rainbows. What temp do they like to grow out? So keep them in warmer temps. Keep them up to the low 80s, like 80, 82, even to 86. Those higher, like mid to low 80s, will help grow them much healthier. You'll get better numbers out of them and grow them faster. Then as they grow to like, once they get like yay big, then it doesn't really matter. They're not too picky on temp. But the first few weeks especially, you want to keep them warm. Learned that from Gary, and it really does make a huge difference, and I have tested it. Then if you're trying to keep the numbers as well, watch out for your runners. Some rainbows will grow up faster than the others. We'll snack on the younger ones. Brookley Bell says, I'm in Louisiana. Out of the tap, we have 0GH, 6KH. Oh my God. Oh man. And 8pH. We rescaped the 55-gallon due to algae crisis, and we panicked like idiots. All my other tanks are 300 TDS. It's a mystery why it is 14 So what happened is it could be the substrate that you had in there why it was 1,477 TDS. I don't know if you measure with the same TDS meter, but if you have like calcium type of rocks or limestone type of rocks, that acidity having only 0 GH and 6 KH, then that means you've got some soft water in there. Like that mineralization was breaking down. So it had to have been like your crushed coral substrate or something. Maybe could have even helped cause that, but I don't know why it would read up to 1,400. Even in that situation, I don't know what's going on. That is a mystery. Why it would read that high. It's intriguing. Because 0 GH pretty much says you've got like no calcium carbonate, but you got like some bicarbonates with that 6 KH. It's intriguing. Because really you should only have 60 points from that 6 KH. And I wonder if that KH and GH measurement is just from your tap water and not from the tank that you're measuring too. Because that'll play a big role. Let's see. Big D's Aquatics, bro, coming out with a huge $50 super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Big D. Says, sup, bro, I am shipping you some of my blue mixed with carbon shrimp. They turned out really awesome. Well, that sounds interesting and intriguing. Definitely send me some pics of them, too. I would love to see that. Dude, I remember you talking about them the other day, and interesting. But thank you so much, Big D, for the huge $50 super chat. My brother, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are absolutely awesome. Wow, hours almost gone by already. Wow, it's the first time I looked at the clock. I swear, time flies with you guys. The son of a quack, what causes staghorn? Have some normal hair algae loosely around some stem plants, but the staghorn sticks to leaves of my broad stems and only near the surface or flow. That's true. That's about the most places it likes to grow is right at that flow if it has something to stick onto, whether it be something mechanical or a plant stem. And I don't know exactly what causes it to grow, because I mean it doesn't always happen either, but it does like its flow, so I know the flow definitely helps it. If you want to get rid of it, especially when it's at the surface, it's easy to deal with this way, is get you some hydrogen peroxide and just drop a few drops onto it, and then it'll start changing colors and it will die off and it'll take care of the situation for you. That's awesome, Patrick Callahan. Thank you so much for the support, and glad to hear you're waiting for it. Should be there tomorrow where you're at. Most orders should be landing. But yeah, so glad to get those orders out this week. And thank you all for your support. Absolutely amazing. 100 some orders. It was a long day. Sarah and I stayed up the whole night, just so everything would be fresh for shipping. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Thoughts on purple cherry shrimp? I got one at one point. What would you price a fire red grade purple one at? You know, I can't price that myself. The market's got to kind of price that. And I think lineage has a lot to do with it. So, I don't know. Somebody may want one random purple, but most people are going to want 2 purples to try to breed purples out. Now, if you guys want to try to breed purples, best thing to do is take some blue dreams and some fire reds and mix them together in a tank, and you'll get some purples. But as far as price, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Tony Romani. See how long I can get stuck in that name. LRB, have you started messing with any Medaka rice fish yet? So yes, I have, and I have been messing with Medaka rice fish, and I absolutely love messing with Medaka rice fish. Those things breed like crazy for me. I got babies of them up here. I got babies of them back there. I had babies outside. Got some babies in the other room. They'll even colony breed sometimes. I got some babies up there. They'll actually breed at a really young age too. Like I swear they're breeding at like this size, which is almost unbelievable. Can we buy some Danios, Madcat 61207? You want some Danios? You know what? I was just thinking about my Danios today. I never put them on the website because they're like $1 or $2 fish. Like, I don't know who's going to want to bother buying Danios from me for like $1 or $2. But I do have some longfin zebras that I could let go. I had some cool platinum leopards too. I don't know how many of those I have right now though. That's a possibility. You'll have to hit up Sarah, Lady LRB, at lrbaquatics.orders for that kind of buy. But I do have some. Oh, Craig's in here. Always great to see you, mate. And I am drinking water tonight. I'm gonna drink that water. It's good for me. Getting old. But I got some Danios in here. Here, Danios. Oh, there's some. I actually just put a bunch in here too that I had grown out. Well, if it would focus. The only problem with those fish are they're so fast, it's hard for the camera to even keep up with them. Haha! You guys are getting rowdy now. Hungry, huh? Oh, we're over that hour mark. I forgot about that. Do you have any Killifish projects coming up? I do want to mess around with the Neo, what I know is Procatopus, Assimilus. I'm gonna mess with those a little more. I've got some of, but I'm not actively breeding them, but I think they're colony breeding in with some maculosis right now. Let's feed these guys before I hop off here. And I'm sorry I missed anybody else's questions. We'll have next Friday. And if I did miss your question and it's dire, throw it in the comments section. I'll hit you up. Yum, 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 yum. Oh, here you can see all the little Danios. And of course, somebody would want some Danios after I stuck them in this tank. You know, nobody would want Danios as long as I had them in my container where it'd be easy to keep. But you know they're gonna ask once I stick them in a big planted tank. It's just the way she goes. It's just funny how life works like that. You gotta laugh at life like that. Yum, 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 yum. Oh, and those that were wanting Lucipennis, I do have some that are smaller that I think would ship so much better than these guys. Like these guys will poke through bags. I got some smaller ones that I think would ship all right. Oh, Patrick Hardy, you're wanting volcanic guppies too? I mean, I think he almost bought the Will of the Way, maybe today. So throw Lady LRB a message. I don't know. Hate to do that because everybody else is waiting, gonna be like, well, what the heck? I just wish I had more fish. See, this is why Florida, we're gonna have more space so we can have more fish. We'll figure something out for you guys. And the guy who's going to be taking over, he likes guppies too, so he'll probably be breeding out the volcano guppies. I'm sure he'll be breeding out the volcano guppies for you guys. So then I also won't be the only source for him. He'll be able to help source some guppies out for you guys too. So that'll be awesome altogether. But I'm going to hop off here. Thank you all so much for hanging out, for the awesome support, the super chats, the orders, being here, hitting the like button. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you all. Hope you all have a great weekend. Enjoy your fish, enjoy your aquariums. I gotta go feed everybody. I've been feeding them earlier, so now they're hungrier. Look at these killifish. How awesome is that? Killifish barb tank. Yum, 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 yum. Food storm. Food storm! Always like the top views too. Hey, got my toe wet. All right, peace everybody. Have a great one.